What's going on, guys? I am back. I am back with two special guests. I have a co-host today. His name is Davin.
Hello.
Introduce yourself to the people. Tell them what you do here real quick.
My name is Davin. I run all the direct-to-consumer international websites, so Canada, Rory, UK, and Japan.
Okay. If you guys don't know who Rory is, why are you watching this? You're living under a rock, you live in a cave or something like that. The man just won his fight last week.
In the first round.
Literally in the first round, got 6 points, is at the top of the rankings right now.
Number one.
So if you guys don't know, PFL, that's where he's at.
King of the welterweight division in the PFL right now, I think we could say. So
Yeah, let's say that. Red King.
the Red King of the PFL
Yes.
welterweight division.
So real quick, let's get into this because we do have some questions from the fans, and then we also have some personal questions from Davin over here. But I think Rory might want to fight you on some of those ones.
Yeah, nah.
I'm
Hopefully
just saying.
not.
I'm just saying.
Hopefully not. We'll see how it goes.
So the first question is 23 too late to start training for mixed martial arts? What do you think?
Absolutely not. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like guys like Bernard Hopkins is one of them. I think he started boxing at like 32 years old or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he became one of the all-time greats.
Literally. Yeah, but not everybody's like you. You started at, I believe, what, 14 years old? You started training?
15.
Yeah, 14 is when I first walked into an MMA gym.
That's
I did 10 fights on the Canadian scene, and then I got signed to the UFC.
Nice.
That's insane. That's
So,
crazy.
so one question I had was, how did you get your start in MMA? What was the first martial art that drew you to mixed martial arts?
Well, like I said, I started at a mixed martial arts gym. So
So you started with it all.
Yeah. I really fell in love with jiu-jitsu at first because I was a bit of a scrawny kid. I was athletic, but I was not a 6 foot, 6 foot, teenage kid that had a mustache and, giant muscles like some of these guys. I kind of grew into my body in my early 20s. So I was a bit of a dweeby teenager, and I fell in love with jiu-jitsu because of the technique, and I was able to tap out my older brother and his friends.
There it is. There it is.
So
That's the best feeling right
that was
there.
the first thing that really hooked me into the sport. The fact that I could take out guys older and bigger than me, I like that.
You can fold them up like an accordion, basically.
Yeah. So in your start, when you first started out, who were the fighters? Growing up in Canada, they don't necessarily have to be Canadian, but who were the fighters that you were looked up to the most when you were first starting out?
Well, obviously George St. Pierre was a huge one for me.
Of course.
He was an Eastern Canadian. I'm from Western Canada. And there was a lot of guys, though. David Loiseau, Dennis Kang, Mark Hominick. I could just go on and on with the early Canadian fighters that paved the way for guys like me and other fighters in my generation. So I was a big fan in my teen years, and those guys, I drew a lot of inspiration from them. And I was lucky enough in my late teens to be able to train with a lot of them.
That's awesome. I mean, how could you not like George St. Pierre? He's a legend.
We have a question from the fans. What's your favorite hobby when time is allowed?
Besides fighting.
I like shooting guns.
Okay, we love that here.
I don't do it enough, though. I feel like I put so much time into my training and my family. My hobbies are few and far between. But
how many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids.
You have 2. So their hobbies are your hobbies.
A 4-year-old and a 6-year-old now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So very time consuming.
Yeah.
So we have another fan question here.
Yeah, let's ask him. What is it like having a whole country behind you on fight nights?
It feels good,
That's gotta be wild, dude.
It's got to be a wild feeling.
Yeah.
You walk out there and see the whole crowd cheering with the flags and that's gotta be insane. That's gotta
It
be a
is.
whole different
I've main
adrenaline
evented
rush.
a couple fights in Canada, and the support that I've had, at those shows is unbelievable. It's surreal, to be honest, to see that kind of support. Because when I first started the mixed martial arts, it was nowhere near what it was today. And I've fought in events. I wasn't the main event, but I fought Nate Diaz on a card.
Yep.
George was fighting Jake Shields for the title in
We were just
Toronto,
talking
and it
about
We were
was
literally just talking about
fight,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
55,000 people in one
That's
arena.
crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, I was looking. You fought in some pretty good, cool cards there in the past.
Yeah, and it's just it's unbelievable. Like if I would have well, I believed it would happen, but when I first started, people thought I was crazy. Like they thought I was gonna be fighting in like country bars, and I believed in the sport and I believed in myself,
And with almost 20 years in the game, I mean, it's only right.
Yeah.
What's it like standing out there in front of 55,000 screaming maniacs? Like, that's going to be a completely different adrenaline rush.
It's pretty unbelievable. It's surreal to see that many people, and you're just walking through a sea of people. It was incredible.
That's insane. All eyes are on you as you go and do your thing. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's awesome.
You're about to go fight Nate Diaz. So
Yeah.
Right, yeah, dude.
That's gotta be a crazy feeling going up. I mean, a lot of the people. I mean, Robbie Lawler, Tyrone Woodley, like all those guys. It's got to be a crazy feeling walking up with them.
Yeah. Like fighting Robbie, I fought him twice. So the second time, and it was for the world title. I was super nervous, because I knew what kind of character he was already.
So after last year's decisions, and then starting the season out with such a great win, first round submission. I think it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. So first round submission. How does it feel to start out the season with a great win like this? And what'd you do during the off season to prepare for this?
Yeah, it feels great. It just feels like momentum is in my sails. Wind is in my sails.
100%.
And this is exactly what I wanted to do. I made a lot of adjustments in my off time. I changed where I was training. I went down to Austin, Texas. I've been training with guys like Tim Kennedy, and under the tutelage of John Donaher, and it's been fantastic. I've fit in super well there.
Heavy hitters on your,
Great
your
guys
team.
on your
Jeez.
side. I saw the video. I think it was last week of you and Tim Kennedy wrestling.
Oh, okay,
That was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an honor, and it's been a huge blessing for me. I've gained a lot of skills, and gotten into like the best shape of my life. Working out with guys like Tim, like the workouts he does, it's been awesome.
Yeah, we see that it paid off wrestling with Tim Kennedy. This
Oh
last
yeah,
fight.
no, it's a good suck, and it paid off.
That's awesome.
So we have another question from the fans. A very basic, generic fitness question. What can you squat, deadlift, and bench?
I have no idea.
There you go.
Not very much.
Because it doesn't matter. Let's just
It doesn't
it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It does not matter.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I never really maxed out on any of those things. For martial artists, it's not worth the risk of injury.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.
So I never really forced myself, but when I do start feeling the weight being heavy, it's usually not very significant weight. I'm more strong when I grab onto someone compared to lifting a weight.
Right. Well, that's the thing is you're not getting in the cage to outbench somebody. You're there to knock somebody out. So it doesn't really matter what you're pushing.
Three things
weight-wise.
you need to know: punching, kicking, and wrestling, and then footwork and speed. So
fitness is a super big part of my life, and I love it. But I guess just the maxing out part of it, the pure power element of it, it's not something I put a ton of attention on. Just for the injury factor.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta measure the risk versus reward on that one.
Maybe one day after you retire, we can bring you down here and we'll set you up at the Rec One gym and see what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to put some work in with me. It'll take some time.
That's okay.
Yeah. So we talked to you. You had a lot of really good, crazy fights in your past there. I just wanted to know who was the hardest opponent you've ever fought, or what was the most memorable fight out of all the fights that you've had in the last almost 20 years now?
Probably my second fight with Robbie. It was for the UFC World Title.
That was insane.
cemented my legacy, so to speak, or it's definitely the one I hear most about when people come up and talk to me about my career, my fights.
Of
It's the
course.
one that comes up most, and it was probably the hardest fight.
That was a bloodbath too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a battle.
that was a big moment in my career, so that's something I'll never forget.
Well, look, I have one inappropriate question from our fans here. When eating a
Okay.
hot dog, do you eat it like this or do you eat it sideways? I don't know where they come up with this shit, but
I ate a hot dog. I'm gonna go with fork and knife.
I said the same thing.
That's the answer. That's the answer.
That's exactly what I said too. There we go. We got a real man on the team over here.
That's awesome. That's a good answer there.
Me and Rory can be friends.
Oh man. Is there anybody in any league? It doesn't necessarily have to be the PFL, but if you could fight one fighter in any welterweight class in any league, who would it be?
Or just any fighter in general.
Or yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be in welterweight.
I
your
got
dream
my eyes
fight.
on Kamaru Usman. Obviously, he's the top dog in the sport right now. Chimaev's got a lot of momentum behind him. I'd like to fight him one day. So those
yeah.
two guys probably pretty high up there on my list.
Yeah, I'd like to see Chimaev. I think that would be a really good fight with your guys' styles and everything too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I should have announced this earlier. Davin's kind of like our in-house mixed martial arts expert. So,
I wouldn't say expert, but yeah.
You know a lot more
I watch
than I
a lot
do.
of fights. I watch a lot of fights. So
Okay.
that Robbie Lawler one, I remember that one. That one was a crazy fight.
Here we
Both
go.
of them were crazy. 1 and 2.
Here's another one. This isn't inappropriate, but it's a good one. What's your favorite go-to Tim's order? Tim Hortons.
Oh, Tim Hortons. I never get anything there.
Oh, wow.
Are you a Starbucks guy?
Yeah.
Ah.
And even then, I'm a bit of a coffee snob now.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
you make your own coffee at home most of the time?
Yes, I make my own coffee.
What do you use, a coffee maker or a French press?
I do Bialetti espresso.
Okay. Nice.
We can't be putting that out there that you don't go to Tim Hortons. People are going to riot in the streets.
I know. Now you had Canada behind you
Yeah.
before, but I
I'm going to
mean,
be pissed now.
I like espresso, and once I'm hooked on espresso. I don't put no milk or sugar in it, and just straight drip coffee for me. It doesn't do it for me anymore.
I understand that one.
So this is a question more I had because when I first started, my parents didn't like me. I used to do MMA in the past, so when I did MMA when I was younger, I know my parents didn't quite want me to do MMA that much, and especially competing and everything. So I just wanted to see, were your parents supportive right from the get-go when you started fighting, or did it take them a little bit of time to get used to it?
My dad really liked it. He was a martial artist when he was a teenager.
Okay.
So he was always very supportive of me, and he saw, because I was living with my father at that time, so he saw the positive influence it had on my life.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, not so much. She wasn't super happy about it. She thought I could do something like golf. I definitely
try
wanted
golf.
the path she wanted for me, but she still was at all my fights and gave me a lot of support, and she wasn't happy about it.
Okay.
Another question from the fans. Do you watch the show The Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah, I have. I haven't watched it in years, but I grew up for a long time watching it.
Nice.
It's crazy to me because I didn't realize the show was been around for like 20-something
Oh,
years. It has like 5 movie spinoffs. That's insane to me.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. It goes back a ways for sure.
Well, I didn't know it was a Canadian show until about, I don't know, maybe a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue because I didn't know what it was. I always saw it on Netflix and I watched it, thought it was funny. So I started doing my research, and now it makes sense why this person asked that question.
Yeah.
I thought it was a random question at first.
You're back training in Canada now, right? You're based in Canada back? Because I know you. Last year, I believe you were in Florida.
So I live in Montreal. So what I've been doing is a week here and a week in Texas because I've just been going to Texas on my own, and my family just stays here in Montreal.
Okay, nice. Do you like is it the weather that's better, or just the gym?
It's the training.
The training.
It's the drawing me there, but I love Texas. It's just been amazing.
It's a great state. It's Florida Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm not a huge fan of Florida as much. Just in South Florida, it's super congested.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. I agree with that.
It's even worse
In
now.
Austin, the city, but you're not far from, the countryside, and that's just more my style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. That's it. Countryside is always better.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot more relaxed too. You can stay more focused in Texas rather than South Florida, where you have Miami and Fort Lauderdale and all the craziness of down here.
I just found it busy,
It's basically nonstop. It's like southern version of New York. It's just go, 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 go at all times.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a city guy myself, so the busyness gets me a little anxious for whatever reason.
Yeah, because it's crazy, especially like nowadays. Like you leave here at 6 o'clock and you get on the main road over here, and it's just gridlock.
It's insane. Traffic is insane, and you can't focus with this kind of craziness.
No, it's not very laid back, if you will.
Exactly.
There's no laid back vibes down here.
Yeah.
That one right there. This one right here, where it says, "I challenge you, Rory, to a fight." Davin's throwing down the gauntlet right now. He wants to see. He wants you to come down here because he wants to see if you can
I don't
hang
want
with
this
him.
smoke, Rory. Oh man.
I was trying to get you to pee your pants, but it didn't work.
No. I wouldn't pee my pants, but I definitely don't. I wouldn't want the fight here.
No.
I wouldn't want to be in that either.
Maybe
so.
if you had to fight with like both arms behind your back or something, and
a
maybe
leg tied up too.
a leg tied up or something like.
Just
Maybe
one of
we could
these
talk
little
then,
things,
but we'll do a little Jake Paul kind of fight here.
That's actually a good question. If there's one celebrity you could punch in the face full force, who would it be?
Or just fight.
Or just fight? Yes.
I don't know enough celebrities.
Fair enough answer.
I have no idea. Never thought about that.
There's not one person, not one actor that just want to
Probably
punch in the
my
face.
prime minister. No.
That's an acceptable answer.
Yeah.
I want to punch your prime minister in the face too, so it's okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good. We can set that up.
I wouldn't strike him in public, but maybe like a charity boxing event.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying. Like a good one person you could fight in a charity box event. I would pay to see that.
I'd pay to see that. I'd pay for you to punch our guy in the face too, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Just saying. They asked, why did you become less aggressive in the cage after you found God?
Yeah, so I had a bit of a rough stint there. I wouldn't necessarily say it was because of, finding my faith, but probably a mixture of things. I lost focus on my passion for the sport.
Yeah.
I would say was the main result, but
I mean, after almost 20 years, that's going to happen to anything.
yeah, and I just had a lot of things going on in my life, and
Right.
finding the Lord was a big one, mixed in with a whole lot of other things: getting married, having kids, getting a house. Just
A lot of things.
I had like a crazy turnaround in my life in a very short period of time, and I just kind of put fighting, a little further back on the burner than I should have, while I was competing, and my training took a back seat, and just my passion for the sport just faded as I was putting my heart into other things. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I really feel like where I'm at now is the best I've ever been in my entire career, with all my experience, that I've had behind me. I draw on a lot of that now, and I've learned a lot of hard things. Learned a lot from bad mistakes, and I'm in a position now where I feel like I'm at my best. I'm healthy. I feel like I'm peaking, and I found this camp that it fits for me 100%, and motivated. I got the right people around me, and I think it's just great timing to redeem a lot of the things that I had screwed up in my youth, or I'd let pass by me opportunities, so.
And I'd like to say on when you're doing the ground and pound against Brett on that last fight, that seemed pretty aggressive to me. So
Yeah, I don't know what this
I don't know
person's
what
talking about,
I would say you almost look more calculated now.
Yeah, well, I've definitely, I feel like whoever asked the question, he's not wrong exactly. Maybe aggression isn't the right word, but maybe, passion and interest,
Right.
like some fights I went in there and I didn't care to finish someone. I was just there to, to win the decision. And, it's not that I wasn't more aggressive. I just figured, I could just outskill this guy and win the fight, whatever. But having a real passion for the sport again, like I was in my youth, to go and finish guys and go after it. That's very
more calculated
present in my life.
Yeah.
More
Stuff
focused
that
and more calculated.
Right. Everything happens for a reason, and now you're better than ever, like you said. So everything happens for a reason. And you said it best. He's more calculated now.
Very happy.
I think that $1 million is in your future soon here.
Absolutely.
Me too. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. We'll be there.
So we're about out of time here. We're going to wrap it up real quick. I got one last thing to say to the people here, or you could say it if you want to. Usually my thing, but you can announce to the people who the newest team member to Redcon 1 is. I will step away so you can be the spotlight real quick.
Our brand new Redcon 1 athlete, Rory Red King McDonald.
Woo! The crowd goes wild. Round of applause.
We should add a Canadian flag up here for you, but
Even better, you got Cosmo Kramer hanging in the back.
Yes, there you go.
There you go.
My wife says I look like him when I wake up.
I don't see that. Maybe the hair,
Yeah,
a little bit
it's
in
my-
the front there, maybe, but
Minus, yeah.
She says it's
I
my
don't see
hair.
the face though. I don't see the face. But maybe you should go as him for like Halloween. You can dress up as Cosmo.
Next fight, come out as him.
Now, does the wife look like Elaine? Because then you can throw that whole thing. She do little kicks and stuff. You guys are dancing. I don't know if you're a Seinfeld. I'm a massive Seinfeld fan, so hence the reason this is hanging up in here. Well, thank you, Rory, for your time. Thank you to everybody that tuned in to watch this. Everybody, please welcome him to the team.
Thank you for doing the interview. It was a
huge future.
pleasure meeting you.
We need to get you down here so we can get some footage of you. And
Of course. We can go shoot some guns if you come down here.
I'd rather
too.
see you punch Davin in the face, but that's just me. I mean,
I'd rather not get punched in the
I'm
face.
on both of those. Those are great ideas.
yes. Punch him, not me though. Okay, he can take a punch.
Okay.
I can't. That's as simple as that.
Ladies and gentlemen,